Into the flow of things offensively. Ball taken away.
Whoa!
Earls has a goal! He scored!
Boy, oh boy, that was
Danny Earls!
that was 35 yards out.
Can you believe that? Meet me in outer space. What a drive!
What a fantastic hit that was.
Thing was on a rope, man, into the upper corner.
And the blue smoke's going crazy. And,
On zinging footballs, how long are you filming for?
I'll show you today, mate. First time. All right, we're live, is that all right? All right, guys, welcome back to another video. So today is going to be a special one because I'm not by myself today. I'm with a legend of the game, Danny Earls. So Danny is a professional footballer. He's played, we'll find out in a second, all the different places he's played. He's played in the MLS. He's played at the very top level. So you're going to want to listen to this one. He's got some words of wisdom for you guys. But just to give you a quick nutshell on how Danny and I met. So I came over to Rochester, New York in 2011 on a soccer scholarship to come to college. At the time, Danny was playing in the USL for the Rochester Rhinos. Came down to watch a few games. Danny definitely stood out for me, so I did a bit of research into him. Knew he was from Ireland, so I could tell he had a bit of the UK technique about him. So I always liked watching him play. Then Danny went on to play in the MLS. He moved away for a bit, but he actually came back into town. So I'd shot Danny a message, seeing if he did any one-on-one training, because it's always good to learn from players who have played at a higher level than yourself. They have more experience. So I shot Danny an email, and just on the off chance he was actually coming back to Rochester. His missus lives in Rochester, so he was going to be back for a bit, and we did some sessions together for a while.
Charged you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I'm still in debt from that, still paying it off, but it's all right, it was worth it. He helped me out through my senior year in college, helped me have a decent season. And then we just became pretty good mates after that. We'd get coffees now and again, and it's always good to just chat with Danny. He's kind of a mentor to me, but also just a mate at the same time. So just a nutshell about how Danny and I met, if you wouldn't mind just maybe sharing a bit about your playing experience, where you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I started, obviously grew up in Ireland, like you said. I played football. It's weird when you say to people over here in this country, how long you've been playing. I can't really remember when I started playing. I'm sure it was the same as you, you know. People can kind of put an age on it when they play baseball, but I remember kicking a football since I could walk, you know what I mean? So I started over there and played for a team called Wicklow Rovers, then St Joseph's Boys in Dublin. The way it works, you move up in the ranks, so you go to Dublin, then you go and start going on trials if you're spotted. So I played for Ireland, and then I went on trials to Aston Villa, Sunderland, those types of teams. Every time we had a break in school, you'd nip across and go on trial and then come back, you know. So when you start when you're 15, 16 usually, you go across and back and see how it goes. And eventually I was lucky enough that Aston Villa offered me a contract, so I signed there. Played there for 3 years, it was great. And then, strange, I'm sure we'll get into it, was a strange one how I got over here, but came over here and I haven't looked back since, to be fair. I've been here, this is going on my 10th year, and yeah, I've loved it.
Quality. So Aston Villa were in the Premier League at the time. You were playing reserve football. Not only that, you captained the team, I believe. So how would you say the level of football was in England compared to when you first came out to the US? So you came and played in the USL right away, coming from Aston Villa. Did you notice a difference?
Yeah, I would say when you're a young lad, people always, the question was, we used to get, what was it like coming from Ireland to England, you know?
Okay.
And it was always a jump I was ready to make, and I was desperate to make, you know? So I never really sat there and thought about how difficult it might be to be a footballer. I just jumped into the deep end and thought, this is what I want to be, I'm going to make it, you know, no matter what it takes. So when I was a young lad, I never really sat and dissected the quality of the football. I just thought, this is how it is. I got to be as good as that, so I'm going to be as good as that. Yeah. And then coming over here, I was just turning 19, so I had a bit more of a grasp on what football is and how it's supposed to be played, you know. And coming over here, people would be surprised enough to find that there was obviously a difference, right? The quality at home is Aston Villa, they're in the Premiership, it's top standard. But I was playing in reserve football, so it was more lads my age against 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Coming over here, I was playing against men. And you're always told when you're a young lad, if you have to go on loan, if you're 18 and 19, you got to play against men to understand how men's football is played. So playing in reserves, although it was great standard and it was a great experience, coming over here and playing against men was just as valuable to me. You know what I mean? So coming over here, the standard, the quality and technique of some of the players weren't as good, but the physicality and the experience that I got stead me in good stead for the whole of my career, to be fair. So it was a great experience. Coming over here was a good decision as well.
What did you notice about playing with the older players? Is it more the physicality? You kind of mentioned it, but is it more the experience that they have? Is it the decisions they're making and things like that, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's a full package. To be fair, when you're a young lad, I used to look at players that have bright boots and done step overs, and I thought, right, that's what I want to do, whether it was effective or whether it wasn't. When you come into a men's league and 3 points matter, and every single decision you make could affect winning or losing a football match, it becomes more serious. You still have to obviously find a fine line in enjoying it and being serious.
Yeah.
But for sure, when you come over and play men's football, people's lives and careers are on the line. You have to win that game of football. So the physicality, 100%. I'm still a wiry little nugget. You know what I mean? I didn't show people off the ball and stuff, but the physicality. But then, decision making of experienced players. They over here in America they call it game management. At home, you would say we see the game out. You know what I mean? So understanding how to do that. What little tricks and tips you could have picked up from all the players, that was definitely an eye-opening experience, yeah.
I think the first game I saw you play, you were wearing orange boots and did a couple of double step overs and
you
that.
Wouldn't think that now. I haven't worn anything black for 5 years.
Nah, that's quite. But so I think moving more into, so you went to the MLS. You came out and played in the USL for, was it 2 years before you went to MLS? Two seasons?
Years.
2 years. And you went up to the MLS, and I'm sure a lot of the other players in the USL that you may be training with, playing against, I think their ultimate goal for many of them is to play in the MLS. Highest standard of football here in the US. You achieved that, and not only that, you went on to win an MLS Cup. What do you think the difference for you after coming from an environment in the USL, then coming into training with an MLS team? Was there anything that stood out as different?
Well, on face value, the professionalism is miles apart just because of the money that can go into facilities and stuff. Right? So, but with regards to players and players' attitudes, it's a strange one because we had a lot of players on our Colorado team that went down on loan to USL teams and couldn't get football. It's a fine line, and I always say to people is, in football, like to be a top player, it's only percentages. And I'm not saying I was a top player by any stretch, but when I see the top players, I played with Pablo Mastroeni, who got 300 appearances in the MLS, who is a top player, It's only fine margins that make him a very, very good player, and someone else that sets him apart from that. You know what I mean? So you're talking how professional is he? He gets in every morning, an hour before training, and does a set routine every morning to keep his body in shape.
Yeah.
Lads in the USL maybe would roll in 15 minutes before, grab a bagel, not eat right, and go out and injure themselves. That would never even cross Pablo's mind. That comes with experience, but for sure, the standard of football was a little bit crisper. I mean, you're talking football. They say is played in the brain and not with the feet. So you're talking when you're playing little 5v2s. If that ball's coming in from here, where can I see that pass there? In the MLS, it just happens. It's just bam here. They don't even think about it because they're drilled to do that. In the USL, maybe people think when you get the ball at their feet, now we've got to make a decision. That decision has to be made before you get the ball at your feet. So it's a little crisper. It's a little sharper athlete-wise as well because they're better athletes coming from different colleges and stuff. But like I said, I think anyone can make it as a top player if those little margins are right. If you take time to set yourself apart. So say me and you are the exact same player, and on the field we play the same way. If I go to bed and eat right, I'm going to go to bed early and eat right, I'm going to be a better player than you. That sets me apart.
Yeah.
What can you do to set yourself apart from the bunch, from the rest of the players that are similar to you in style? You know what I mean?
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Love that. So we didn't mention, so the teams you've played for, Aston Villa reserves obviously, then you came over for the Rochester Rhinos in the USL, and the MLS team was Colorado Rapids, which you won the MLS Cup with. Pretty big achievement there. Then you came and played for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL as well. So just so these guys can get to know more about you, how would you describe your playing style? So you've had bits out on the wing as a wing back, but I would say typically more in the centre of the park.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at videos of me when I was a young lad and from last year, it's not the same player. I've definitely evolved my game to suit managers I played with and to suit systems that I played for.
Okay.
So when I was young, when I was growing up in Ireland, I was a centre midfielder, box to box, all action centre midfielder. That's what I like to think of myself as. Steven Gerrard, I loved Steven Gerrard. He's one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
So he was kind of who I tried to model myself after. Got nowhere near it, but that's who I love.
Not many do,
Yeah, not many do.
Class.
Exactly. Yeah. But love to get stuck into tackles, love to put crosses in the box, create chances. If I didn't come off the field mucky with dirt on my shorts, on my jersey, I thought I didn't have a good game. I just loved to be in and amongst the mix of it,
Yeah.
And then went to Colorado. That was similar. Box. I was a fullback, but almost box to box fullback, if you like to call it, And then when I came back to Rochester, I changed into playing as a left midfielder. You know, as the manager see me, he thought I had way more attacking ability. He didn't want to waste that defending in my own half, I suppose. So he wanted to see me attacking players, and that's when you would have probably come over and seen me, probably in and around 2012 around.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have seen me,
yeah,
for sure. So that's when we're talking about the double step over in the orange boots. That's where you would have seen me. Yeah, so that's when I was more of an attacker. I like to get at players. And then I love that part of football, that expression, like we talk about, we always talk about it, expressing yourself on the field. That's what football is about. It's about expression and understanding when to do it is a great time, but expressing yourself and having fun and enjoying yourself, it has to be. That's where you start playing football in the first place. So that was when I was a young lad, and then when I came, and then from Rochester I moved to Pittsburgh, and that's when I kind of changed my game altogether. I was almost a holding midfielder now, you know, so not much more attacking anymore. Almost like a Schweinsteiger, just getting it and linking up play, keeping it moving, letting the players that want to get at players with pace and ability, giving them the ball and making sure everything's tight at the back. I was almost like a general, kind of organising the team from the back and keeping us pushed up the field, you know what I mean? And with the ball and without the ball, I was almost like that anchor in the middle of the park. And then from there, that's kind of where I stayed for the 4 years in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I really enjoyed that position, to be fair. It's not as much work on your legs, but you can dominate the game and control the game in the middle of the park as well from in there.
And you've definitely got a spray can for a left foot. Hopefully I've put some footage on the screen as we've been talking. Definitely that goal, oh my days, absolute ping. But just a couple of quick fire questions, and then hopefully, if you don't mind, moving to something a bit deeper.
Absolutely.
A couple of quick fire questions. Best player you've played with?
Best player I've played with? That's a tough one.
Even if it was in training,
training, it'd be Gareth Barry.
Yeah?
Gareth Barry, 100%. I mean, he's won the Premiership at Man City. He stands out above everyone, Gareth Barry. But in this country, I'll give a real quick one. No one's ever heard of him, but if you can get highlights of him, his name's Johnny Menyonga. Every person I ever speak to, he's a Liberian captain for years.
Okay.
He was one of the best. He should have played in the MLS. He should have played, I'm telling you, he could have played in England.
Yeah?
He was phenomenal footballer. When I come over here, I came from Villa, and I was thinking, I've never seen a player like him before in my life. He was phenomenal. So Johnny Menyonga and then Pablo Mastroeni as well over here in this country, yeah.
All right. And played against? Did you play against Beckham?
I did play against
you did?
Beckham. Beckham was my hero growing up as well. I was actually, I won't bore you to tears, but I was supposed to play against Beckham twice before that.
Okay.
And both times I'm ringing home to my dad and my brothers and stuff saying, and my mum saying, oh, I'm going to play against Beckham. And he pulled out twice with a back injury. So I'm thinking, I'm never going to get to play against him. Yeah. You see my highlights from before, yeah. No, but then it actually came true. We went to the Home Depot and I played against him, and that was a strange experience playing against him. He was my hero my whole life growing up, watching him. That was a strange experience, but he's obviously definitely the best player I've ever played against.
Did you crunch him or?
Couldn't get near him.
Really?
Couldn't get near him.
Just had the ball away before?
Absolutely.
Just
I
smart.
tried to get close. He was one touch. When I gave him space, he took two touches. Could not get anywhere near him. And he was coming to the end of his career there, so I can only imagine what he was like back in the day, you know.
Brilliant.
I tried to crunch him. I tried to, not for lack of trying.
All right. Well, okay, so I want to ask, what do you think your greatest achievement is in football so far?
Accomplishments would have to be the MLS Cup.
MLS Cup?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty huge.
Definitely,
That's major silverware.
Absolutely, yeah. The MLS Cup with that. I've always been proud to play for my country whenever I was young growing up and stuff, you know.
Right.
Yeah, as an accomplishment for silverware, the MLS Cup.
Easy.
Yeah.
And favourite memory?
That's a tough one. I'm sure if you speak to a lot of footballers, they tell you have a lot of memories. You know what? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
No?
To be fair,
Too many?
There was. I suppose when I was in England at that stage, we were all kind of best mates. We all grew up at that stage. So we moved over there. We were 16, so we played together. We were all best mates. There was 11 best mates on the team, you know. And not that I could pick out one memory from that, but we spent on the pitch together, off the pitch together, every waking minute together, playing football with those boys when you're that young, not having a care in the world. That is a time you look back on and think, oh, fond memories there, you know. That was a great experience.
Love that.
You know.
Love that. That's quality. So moving into something a bit deeper, we actually had coffee just before this. I kind of wish we were filming that because we got well into this just by accident. We were just chatting. But I would say after getting to know you, you're definitely someone who's very self-assured, very confident in what you can do and who you are. Do you think that's something that's important in becoming a footballer? Like you said, when you went to Villa, your attitude was, I'm just going to be the best player here, I'm going to be the best player here. You kind of foresaw what you wanted the situation to turn out, almost like a bit of visualization maybe. But how key is confidence in being a successful footballer?
I don't want to say it's everything, because that is too much, but it is so much of
Yeah.
the equation. You know, I think confidence. People say, like, it's not like a light switch. You can't turn confidence on and off.
Yeah.
You gotta do things on a pitch to breed confidence. So if I'm a winger, I gotta take this fullback on 3 times in a game, and if I do it 3 times in a game, that breeds confidence. I can't step onto that field and say I'm better than you. You got to prove that you're better, and by proving you're better, that will breed confidence. You know, it's almost like a double-edged sword, because when you don't have it, it's tough to get, but when you have it, it's gold dust. You got to capture it. You know.
Yeah.
But I think it's crucial in trying to express yourself as a footballer on the field, because football, like we say, it is an expression, you know, to have confidence. I didn't always have it. It was a tough road back from when you lose it, a tough road back to getting it. I read books, I watched videos, I listened to speakers on how to get confidence. It can be attained and it can be worked on, but by doing things over and over and over, that breeds confidence.
Yeah.
You hear the saying, practice makes perfect. I say practice makes permanent, because if you practice the wrong thing, it will make the wrong thing in your game the whole time. But if you practice makes permanent, if you practice the right thing, you'll permanently do it right and right and right. So that breeds confidence. You know?
Yeah. Because I think that's a question I get the most from a lot of guys who watch the channel, is they struggle with confidence. You kind of talked a little bit about how you struggled. It's definitely something I struggled with, particularly more in my teenage years, I would say. And I kind of found, kind of like you were saying, when I would try and read books and things like that, I felt like the more I overthought it would kind of make it worse. Mm-hmm. It would almost like highlight my confidence issue when I'm like trying to read books and things like that. But something that I've definitely learned is kind of like what you were saying, is the practice, the preparation that leads beforehand. If you're coming into a match, if you know you've done every single thing to prepare for that match, then that's going to give you that foundation of confidence. And then obviously the situation of the game kind of dictates itself. But do you think it's overall preparation, not just the training, but like the food you're eating, the sleep you're getting? Do you think that all contributes to confidence?
I think if you give yourself every possible chance to succeed, more times than not you will succeed. And those times where you have a bad game or you're on the fringe of things, don't be too hard on yourself, because you gave yourself the best possible chance to succeed, but it didn't happen. That's okay. Everyone has bad days. Messi has a bad day. Ronaldo has bad days. They don't score every game. Right. You know what I mean? So if you give yourself every chance to succeed, eating right, the younger you get into these habits, the better it is. You know, I got great advice from Pablo when I was young. I was 21 in Colorado, and he gave me the advice. He said, look after your body now to gain the rewards in the future, you know. So, and he meant that with everything. So if you eat right and sleep right before training, the next day you think, I done everything right. You wake up feeling great. I'm confident. You know what I mean? You're already got your shoulders back. You think, okay, yeah, today's going to be a good day. I'm ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself those little tasks to say, okay, I've done that task. I'm good. Okay, let's go. Let's move on from here.
Yeah.
You know? I think, like we say, it's a difficult thing to achieve, but when you achieve it, I think, definitely it can work wonders. You know.
Yeah.
We talked about just before in the coffee. I asked you, did you struggle with confidence growing up? And you said that in those situations, I used to say I was going to be the best player. That was just a natural thing for me. I always wanted to achieve and excel and be the best player. Yeah. But it doesn't happen for everyone. You know what I mean? And I think a culture in the UK and in Ireland, it's not a culture of expressing yourself, so it's hard to get confidence. And I'm sure there's kids that watch your channel, I'm sure there's kids in this country that think they have coaches that are hard on them, and it's not a great environment to achieve things. Sometimes it's got to change, but sometimes you have to change that yourself and think, you know what, I am a good player. I'll listen to my coach what he says, I work hard and I do things on the field right, but sometimes I'm going to express myself. If it doesn't work, don't be so hard on yourself. Make mistakes. I told you, if Messi makes 9 wrong passes, the 10th one, it will be a great pass and people will applaud him for a month. But in England, if we make 9 wrong passes, they might take you off, so you don't get a chance to make the 10th one. You know what I mean? So right. I think that culture has to change at home. It has to be a culture of expression more than a culture of getting things right and doing things the way it has to be done, you know? Right, not punishing mistakes instantly, right? Exactly, yeah. Because you hear at home, if someone tries to do something, all you hear in the sidelines is the coach, hey, don't do that. You got to play simple. that's not what kids get into play football for. I wanted to do bicycle kicks every day, all day when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I wanted to do rainbows. I wanted to do step overs. I didn't get in just to pass the ball 5 yards. When you get older and you understand what football is, that's about game management. Then you can do that.
Right.
But it comes with that experience. When you're young, express yourself. Feel good about
Yeah.
things.
Kind of like yesterday, Ronaldo scoring his bicycle kick. I think we've all seen him just shank so many bicycle kicks, which is fine. But now all those are forgotten, and he's just going to be applauded. I mean, even the Juventus fans are up and applauding him. So I think it's not only for football, but I would say probably confidence is just essential across the board in anything that you're doing. I kind of think of Conor McGregor anytime someone talks about confidence, fellow countryman of yours. Probably the most interesting athlete in the world. I would recommend anyone to look more into him. But just moving into something else now. So you're also an artist. You're not just a footballer, which is very rare. Usually most footballers, that's their only thing, and then they're working at Tesco's after their career. But so let's talk about your artwork a little bit. So well, you wouldn't know, but Dan is a phenomenal artist. I'm going to put links for you guys to check out his work and things like that. But he's actually progressing pretty far along in his art career as well. And that's something you're going to be pursuing full time now that you're looking ahead into the next chapter of your life after playing and things like that. How much do you think the disciplines you've learned from being a footballer have translated into your new discipline, or for anybody out there who's pursuing anything they're passionate about? What translates from whether you're being a footballer, if you want to be a chef, a UFC fighter, or an artist? What is the common factor?
Listen, when I talk about confidence and stuff as well, and going back to this, it wasn't always there for me. I've had ups and downs the whole way, you know.
Sure.
I'm 20. I'm going to be 29 now this month. I've had ups and downs. I've tried to learn. I've learned how to do things my way, you know. So my way might not be best for everyone else, but I've learned through doing things wrong and through doing things right what works for me, and it's been a pretty good blueprint so far, you know. So talking about the discipline, I've been to bed late and I've ate crap and I've got up and played bad next morning. I haven't always done the right thing, is what I'm trying to say, you know. So I'm sure there's kids out there that are eating wrong and think, okay, I can change, I can do better. Anyone can change. So by doing the wrong things, I've learned how to do the right things, you know. So for me, it was always routine and discipline. I've come back to routine and discipline creates success, I think. You know what I mean? In anything you do, if you wake up and you're kind of, today I'll do this or I might do that, there's no structure, you can't get better at things because you can't gauge how to get better. So I learned a few years, about 5 or 6 years ago, that if I want to be a good artist, I got to put in 8 to 10 hours a day. Every single day, no matter what. Of course you have Christmas Day, there's those days you can't put in. But every single day to get better. For me, it was a disciplined work rate. I'd say work rate, but you got to be disciplined in the areas that you're looking to work in. You know what I mean? So you got to improve. It can't just be working not towards a goal, if that makes sense. Pick a goal, is I'm going to work towards that. And if it doesn't happen in the time frame you want it to work, okay, well extend that. It's okay, but be disciplined in your work rate. But discipline and routine for me is absolutely essential for any sort of success in any walk of life. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I kind of spoke about this to guys. A lot of guys ask me, what about when I'm not motivated? And I kind of touched upon the fact it's kind of got to become routine. Like, you're not always motivated to eat. You're not always motivated to brush your teeth, but there's a negative consequence from you not doing it. Have you ever struggled with no motivation, or is it just something that you've always known, if I'm not doing it, somebody else is going to be doing it, kind of thing?
I wouldn't say it would ever be like an extended period of not being motivated, if that makes sense. For sure, I've had days where you think, today I just don't want to do that.
Right.
But if you look at the bigger picture, say, well, I have to do it because if I want to get better, you know what I mean? And you got to sacrifice things. That's the big thing. So if you want to be successful, sacrifices have to be made. It's not all. I've had a career now that spanned nearly 12 years in soccer, right? It's not all been roses. It's not all. I've had to miss a lot of things in my life. I'm not saying it has to be an unhappy life. I've had an amazing life. I've lived in a lot of places, but you got to sacrifice things to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, like with my art now, I got to sacrifice time with my fiance at times. You know what I mean? I got to sacrifice being away from my family at home in Ireland because I want to pursue this art over here in this country. You know, if you can make all those things work, and that's great for you. But for me, I've found I've had to make some sacrifices to be better at the life I've chosen to do, you know. And motivation, we talked about this a few weeks ago. It's not a word that I like, I suppose, you know.
Right.
If you need motivation,
It's overused these days for sure. Yeah.
100%. I think if you wake up and think, I'm not motivated today, it's unfortunate, it's probably hard to hear, but you won't be successful in anything. That's where the discipline comes in. Motivation won't get you to do something, discipline will. Because some days I wake up and think, I got to draw 100 figures today, or I got to pass 100 balls. I'm not motivated to do that, but I'm disciplined to do it, and I will do it, you know?
Yeah.
So discipline definitely trumps motivation.
100%. I always say motivation is kind of like a luxury. It's great when it's around. It's kind of like having a Red Bull before a game or something. It just gives you that little bit, but it's not a necessity. You got to do it whether you have it or not, kind of thing. So. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, so we'll move into one final question. So it's one I get quite a lot. So there's some guys out there who don't realize their dream maybe later on. Whether or not that's too late is up to them, kind of thing. What kind of advice would you give to someone that maybe either started playing late but is pouring all their time into it, or someone who has been playing a long time but maybe they haven't had good exposure through their youth career or anything like that, and they're looking for the next level, kind of thing?
I would, it sounds cliche, but you can never give up. If you have a dream, don't. It's a weird one. I actually heard a great thing. There's one of the artists I follow, his name's Jim Lee. He's one of the best artists of all time, and he draws for DC Comics, Batman and stuff, you know. And someone asked him a question and he said, is it too late for me to be an artist? And this guy was 40, and Jim Lee just said, he says, if you're asking me that, you probably answer the question yourself. He says it's got to come from inside. If you've got a burning passion and a burning desire to be the best, to be every morning wake up and say, can I be the best I can possibly be today? Can I be better or just as good as the person I'm playing with or against? Can I do everything I can to squeeze the most out of today? And that's a burning desire that never leaves you. That's your answer, you know. If you lose that motivation, of course you can find it again. Never, if it's a dream of yours, never ever give up on that. Ever. People say, I'm 28 now. A lot of people could say that's a bit late to be getting into the art industry because I'm nearly 30, you know. If I listened to them, I wouldn't be doing that now, you know. Never ever let anyone tell you what you can and can't do in your own life with your own dreams, because then you'd be working in a job that you don't like when you're 60, you retire, and then you think, I should have pursued my dream. Pursue that dream, and if it doesn't work out, at least you bloody well tried it. You know what I mean? Give it a good shot trying it, you know? And more than likely, it will work out and you'll be living the life that you want to live, you know?
Love that. I think those are good words to end it on, mate, but that was quality. So guys, make sure you take in these words that Danny's sharing with you. I even learned something a lot more. Every time I meet with Danny, I'm learning something new. So if you need to rewind this and watch it over again, I'm sure you'll get a new nugget of knowledge every time you watch it back. But Danny, thanks so much, mate.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. I think we're going to go kick the ball around now, but make sure you do like this video. If you did enjoy it, subscribe to the channel for future videos, hopefully more of this kind of stuff. But until next time, we'll see you. There we go. Quality.